Okay, so chapter 25, this is a lecture on internal rate of return. It starts on page 1270, bottom of 1271. So the internal rate of return, so net present value, all we figured out was, does it return our minimum amount? The IRR gives me the amount or the rate at which it's actually returning. So it's a little bit more, I wouldn't say accurate, but it's giving me a, percentage of return versus just do I or don't I reach this hurdle rate. So this method, there's obviously, like most, there's an Excel function and there's a function the book uses. We'll just go through the steps, and I'm using the information on page 1272. Top of 1272, it says, to illustrate, assume management's evaluating the following proposal. Cost of new equipment is $33,530. Yearly expected cash flows, now this is an annual cash flow, which means the same amount every year because it says yearly, which gives you a clue that we can use the annuity tables because as long as it's equal amounts over equal time spacing, then we can do that. Expected life is 5 years, and minimum desired rate of return is 12%. So what we can do, it shows how to find the net present value, but I don't want to just find the net present value here. I want to figure out, okay, how much is the return on this? How much am I actually getting? I know 12 is what I want, but am I getting more or less than that? So I'm at the bottom of 1272. It says step 1. Step 1 is determine the present value factor of the annuity as follows: the amount to be invested divided by the equal annual cash flows. So for step 1, I'm taking the amount to be invested, which is $33,530, divided by the equal net cash flows. So 3.53, that's step 1. Step 2, locate the present value factor in step 1 of an annuity on the annuity table as follows. Locate the number of years in expected life. So we're 5 years here, so we know we're on this line. Okay, and then we proceed horizontally. So is it 6%? No, that's 3.335. Is it 10%? No. Is it 12%? No. Is it 15%? Well, there's rounding, but yeah, it's 15%. So step 2 finds that. Step 2, we find that number here. And effectively, step 3 just says, okay, report that number. I don't know why they break it into a separate step. Step 2 is really all you need to do. So we found the closest number for 5 years. I go across, it's right here. So the answer for the IRR, in this case, is 15% based on the tables. And that's all there is. So I find the factor on the table, and find where that falls in the percentages, and that's my internal rate of return. If you want to use this as a function instead, this one works a little better than the NPV function, actually. The function is, as you might expect, equals IRR. And then it asks you for values. I am going to use year 0 as a negative number and then highlight all of them. And that's why I listed them out, because you can't just list 10,000 and say times 5. You list out every year, which isn't too tough. You can just copy and paste. It doesn't take very long to do. So those are my values. My guess is the number that I think it's going to be. My guess is, the 12% that I want it to be at a minimum is my minimum rate of return. So I'm going to put 0.12 here. Actually, I guess I can reference it just for the liking of it here. And if you do that, the function will return you the IRR of 15%. Why use the function instead of that? Because technically the function is a little bit more accurate. Okay. Notice there was a rounding. Well, there still is here too, although it's pretty close, 14.98%. So that's how you find IRR. That's the last lecture for the meat of the chapter. I don't know if it'll take 1 or 2 videos, but I'm going to go through some problems in the next video. I'm going to go through brief exercise 25.3, 25.4, and then exercise 25.7.